Our spies return once more with excellent information from Paradox. That's right, more Dev Diary news. And this one's actually pretty interesting. We will be getting the opportunity to finally name our battle plans. I know this isn't a big operational change, but it's really cool for RP purposes, and it's just that little bit of extra immersion. Like this one here, classic Fallweis. Battle plans can get dynamic naming based on historical battle plans, based on location, timing. So this is the invasion of Poland, Fallweis, and it will automatically be called this if you're playing Germany and you're invading Poland in 1939 from the west. Of course, not everything has that specific flair, and it will also use dynamic naming with a more government approach. So the classics like the Eastern Poland Strategic Offensive Operation, because the people who name battle plans aren't always the most imaginative ones. So this is the Soviet invasion of Eastern Poland. Again, it's a small change, but it does add a lot of RP and a lot of flavor. At least to me, I really like this. And what I like best about this is that you can name them yourself. Forget about Fallweis. No, this is Operation Fabulous. I think this is the best part. You will be able to name these battle plans yourself, and you can get super creative with these. Yeah, I think we're going to be using this a lot in my videos. And because battle plans on their own are not all that interesting, we're getting something else. Division commanders. Every division will now have a commanding officer. Not just a general sitting in an office somewhere, but actually a frontline commander in charge of the division. Don't worry, there is no micromanagement involved here. You simply generate these automatically. They're attached to the division when they're trained, and that's it. You don't have to worry about this anymore if you don't want to. But what is cool is that these guys will serve as your recruiting pool for new generals. Instead of pushing a button and spending some command power to generate a new general, you can now go into your officer core and get a full list of all the division commanders you have available. So no, you don't have to go and look for that one specific unit out in the field. There is a list, it's easy to find, and then from this screen you will be able to promote specific commanders if you feel like you need a general. Now these guys, when promoted, they will have a certain amount of experience banked up from their experiences as a division commander, so you might hire somebody who actually has some field experience instead of just another pencil pusher. And what that means is you will be getting generals, for instance a infantry commander. You promote him to a general, and if he has sufficient experience banked up from his time as a divisional commander, he will start as a general with the infantry officer trait because he has experience handling infantry. The same goes for tanks, motorized. That sort of stuff is pretty cool and actually realistic. Speaking of cool, every division will also have a sort of log, a record of any important actions that division has performed over the campaign. For instance, this Polish division here took part in the occupation of Berlin. It also secured Stettin from German forces and seized the airfields at Niederschlesien. Yeah, so basically, if you take high-value victory points, you take a capital, you take an airfield, maybe a naval base, that sort of thing, those will be logged, and the divisions that took part in it will get this list. And I know when you have a billion divisions, you're not all that attached to a single one, but for RP purposes, this is pretty cool, and I like that they took the time to add this. A lot of people will not even look at this twice. I think this is really nice, and I might actually start using this to integrate it with my channel members. Might be a cool way of giving something back to the community in a small way. And you see that button there? The hand holding a medal? That's the next cool part. Divisions, well, division commanders will be able to receive medals. The division commanders themselves will not give bonuses to their units, but they can get medals, and those medals will confer bonuses. Now, when the general leaves, or the commander leaves to become a general, the medal stays with the unit. I don't know why, because medals were given to commanders, but anyway, the general that has left will then have a badge of honor commemorating his time in whatever unit he came from, but the unit itself will keep the bonus, and some of these are pretty good. It's an easy way to spend a little bit of political power while you're swimming in it, usually in the late game, and it gives small but not insignificant bonuses to your units. This is a good way of marking your elite, your spearheads, the units on which you build your empire. 7.5% breakthrough on a single division is not gonna make or break your game, but it is a nice touch, and I definitely like this. I do know that YouTube is going to demonetize the hell out of me for using the Knight's Cross. They already have deleted one of my icons. They don't like the Knight's Cross, so I must make sure not to zoom in too much on these medals. Now, these medals can be assigned to units when they have completed one of those valorous actions we discussed earlier, like taking a capital, taking a high-value victory point, that sort of stuff, but you're not limited. So you can give them 1 medal, you can give them 10 medals if they take 10 massive victory points, but every subsequent medal will be more expensive than the previous one, so this is gonna run you some costs. The upside of these medals is not only does it give bonuses to the unit, it will also give straight up experience to the unit commander. So that general with a full row of medals on his chest, he is going to have a lot of experience banked up when he becomes an actual general, and that way you can really prepare these men for a role in the high command. And once again, you don't have to go looking for specific units out in the field to be able to do this. This can also be done straight from the officer corps window, so it is nice and clean. Somebody actually thought this UI through, so this is pretty cool. Speaking of things I love, unit cohesion. This is a frontline, and the frontline AI is awful, or at least it was awful. Changes are being made to the frontline AI finally. And that is where this button comes in. This is how we will be able to set frontline cohesion. What is frontline cohesion? Well, there will be 3 levels of frontline cohesion, starting with flexible. That is the way it works right now. Units can be pulled off the line wherever to fill in gaps, and the AI will try to shuffle units around to maintain a continuous front line. Now, that doesn't always work out the way it should, and that is why we have a new setting available, balanced cohesions. That means units will still shuffle around to fill gaps in the front line and maintain a strong, well, I say strong, a battle line, but they will not be pulling units all the way across the map. If it's a long front line, it will try to pick units that are closer to the gap or closer to the location they're trying to reinforce. That's a good change. I am looking forward to the way that works, and they've even got a different one here, rigid cohesion, and this one means the AI will only pull units that are directly next to the gap or very, very close to it to plug that hole. And I think this is mostly going to be beneficial if you're setting up a defensive line that you're not expecting to touch, like the Maginot or a very long Eastern Front where you're holding off the Soviets while you're fighting in the West against the Allied naval invasions. This will ensure the frontline AI doesn't shuffle your units around and waste your entrenchment bonuses all that much. So that is pretty cool. The AI, however, will never or rarely use rigid cohesion just because it is that dangerous, and if the AI uses this, I can already see this being exploited like crazy. Punch a hole and the AI doesn't know what to do. And then they have a section on modding here that I'll be honest, I don't know what any of this means. If you guys are modders or are into modding, I recommend you check this out. I'll leave a link to the dev diary below, but I have no idea what this means, but it's nice that they think about modding, I guess. Anyway, this was a short dev diary. Let me know what you guys think will be some excellent battle plan names, and how many of you are looking forward to giving some medals to your very valiant troops. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.